so if you want to begin by just getting yourself into a comfortable position, and that might be sitting cross-legged, you might be sitting in half lotus, full lotus, if you can do full lotus. I can't, but just coming into a comfortable position, and then just taking this opportunity now to begin to calm your mind, your body. Oh, Lola, what are you doing? And just either cast your gaze down if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, or just close your eyes. And just begin to go inwards slightly. And as we generally always do, begin with that focus on the points of the points of your body that make contact with the ground. So really bringing your attention, your awareness, just channeling it down to those points of contact. And in doing this, we are giving ourselves the opportunity to ground ourselves, to really connect with the part of the ground that we're sat on. So just taking your attention to your sit bones, the nice fleshy part of your bottom, if you have a fleshy part of your bottom, I'm not saying you do. And then maybe perhaps just the sides of the feet, and just any other part of your body that's making contact with the ground. And then once you've established that connection with the ground, just taking your awareness now around your body in your own time, to just do a scan of how your body physically feels today. So maybe starting with your toes, and perhaps thinking individually about each toe. How do they feel? Moving up through the legs, doing each leg in turn so that you give each limb your own undivided attention. And then maybe moving through the pelvis, around the tummy, the lower back, chest, middle of the back, ribs, top of the back, shoulders. Just noticing how it feels. And then maybe down each arm, hands, fingers. And in this noticing, really is just an opportunity to do that. Just to notice, not to judge. Particularly if you're going to judge something in a negative way. Just notice how it feels. Just notice if there's a volume to how it is presenting itself. Perhaps a louder volume or a quieter volume. Perhaps there's parts of your body that almost keep themselves hidden. And there's other parts of your body that constantly remind you that they're there. And it's just an opportunity to notice that. And so as you complete the scan of your body, for that physical awareness of how you are today, then just taking your attention to emotionally how you feel today, and perhaps using that body scan process, so coming out of your head space to define your emotions, and using that body scan process to see how it feels when you place your awareness in different parts of your body. So, do any emotions come up as you place your awareness in your feet? And you might think, what the hell is she talking about? And that's absolutely fine. But just give it a go. Just see how emotionally you're feeling today. And just come out of your headspace where you think about how you're feeling to trying to feel how you feel. And again, no emotion is good or bad in that way. We attach judgments to emotions. And quite often we attach judgments that are, you shouldn't feel like that. It's a bad emotion to feel. But there isn't any such thing. And then finally, just taking your attention to your breath and using these next few moments just to connect with your breath. Your breath being your life source, your energy, your however you want to consider it. It's a vital part of your existence, and yet it carries on quite quietly in the background most of the time. And we sometimes only give it attention when it shouts at us, when in actual fact we can work with our breath to calm and still and quiet, and also provide oxygen and to do more vigorous activity or to have more energy. It's an amazing thing. So just focusing in on the breath and how you're breathing today. And now the opportunity here is, if you would like to, is to just extend your exhale. So if, for example, you're breathing in for the count of 3, extend your exhale to 4 or 5. You might be inhaling for 4, exhale for 6. And just spend a few moments with that practice. And as it appears, I've inadvertently created a theme for this practice that I didn't intentionally do. It feels like we still need to answer the call to a love practice today. So I would invite you now to focus your attention, your thoughts, your whole body on what love feels like to you. How will you feel love in your body? How can you create a sense of love, perhaps nurture in your body? And as we usually set some form of intention in our practice instead of perhaps doing that today, although you still can. I just want you to approach practice with a sense of love and whatever that means to you. And so whenever you're ready now, just slowly opening your eyes and making your way into all fours. And we'll just begin by warming up our spine in our cat-cow. And as we always do, just to help us set our practice off, just beginning by arching and curving the spine at your own pace. And spending a little bit of time here to get that mobility going in your spine. And then whenever you're ready, just beginning, if it feels comfortable to you, to just explore from that position any parts of your body that have started to make inquiries on you, is probably the best way to put it. So if from this position perhaps you're noticing that you've got particularly tense shoulders, then come off your arms if that's comfortable for you, and maybe do a few shoulder rolls. If your shoulders are fine, that's fine. If you want to stretch out your legs, then do so. The whole point of this part of the practice is to almost imagine like I'm not here, and that you're tuning in just to some movements that your body is asking you to do. So just feeling into it. And if that all sounds a little bit weird, just carry on doing your cat-cows. Just taking a few more moments just to tune in to how you're feeling, how you want to move. And then just coming, whenever you're ready and whenever you're finished with your movement, just coming back to rest in child's pose. So that's sitting back on your heels, and you can have your knees together, knees apart, whatever's more comfortable for you, and just bringing your forehead to the mat. And if you do suffer from quite a lot of tension held in your forehead, and even if you don't, this is a really nice opportunity just to give your head a little massage on the mat. So just giving your head, rolling it from side to side. And then coming to stillness if you haven't already. And then when you're ready, just coming up onto your knees. Opening your eyes if they're not really open. And just taking a big stretch up. And as you breathe out, bringing your arms down to your sides. And then taking another big stretch up. And bringing your arms down to your sides. And then taking another big stretch up. And your arms down to your sides. And so now we're just going to move through into a beginning with a little bit of a balance stretch. So we're just going to start by just doing a few movements where we're bringing our knee into our chest and then stretching it out behind. So just a few like this. So just trying to stay strong through your arms, but not locking out, and just curling in as much as you want to, and then stretching out to strengthen and stretch. I'm just doing a few of these. And then you will probably start to get a little bit of fatigue. And so when that sets in, the invitation is just to stretch your leg out behind you. And if you want to bring your opposing arm in. And just balance and breathe. And whenever you're ready, just coming down, bringing your knee to the ground and just taking a stretch back into that child's pose. Before bringing yourself onto the other side and beginning that stretch and curl position. Just working through that leg up until the point at which it feels like it's the right time for you. And then when it feels like the right time for you, just extending that leg out and taking, if you want to, the opposite arm out. And you might wobble, or you might not. But just focus on breathing. And then coming down whenever you're ready. And just stretching back again. And then we're just going to come into a very mindful downward facing dog. So just starting off by placing your arms in a very grounded position on the mat in front of you, spreading out your fingers, making sure you've got enough flexibility in your arms, curling the toes under, and then as if it's the first time you've perhaps ever even done a downward facing dog, or you don't even know what a downward facing dog is. So again, not focusing on that end position, just beginning to peel up your knees off the ground and taking it tentatively and up, pushing back into your hips, adjusting your position, just Just making sure you're loose through your shoulders. I hold a lot of tension when I do downward facing dog in my shoulders. So just, if you need to, just unlock the arms just to let your head and shoulders drop. And then just finding a position that feels okay for you. And you may want to move slightly in that position. You might want to walk your heels a little bit. Or you may just want to hover in stillness. But whatever, we're going to slowly make our way up to the front of the mat in a careful way. And just finding ourselves in our forward fold and just really allowing ourselves to let go in that position. Let that lower back just ease through. And it's not about having poker straight legs. It's just about relaxing into that forward fold, letting everything hang down. And then when you're ready, begin very slowly to make your way up to a standing position. And when you're in that standing position and you finish fidgeting, as we always tend to do when we get to a standing position, there's normally hair to be flicked or clothes to be adjusted. Just come to a point of stillness. And pause. And just notice how your body feels now compared to those few moments ago when you first did your body scan. And coming back to that feeling that we talked about in terms of embracing that practice as a feeling of love. What does that feel like now? And so from this position, just going to step your left leg back, turn your left toes out. I always do this the wrong way. I'll do it this way. You stay with your leg, I'm doing it the wrong way. And just very slowly, we're going to put ourselves into the sort of the beginnings of what you would call your warrior two legs. But as we have done before, we just haven't done it for a while, I just want you to start to do some very gentle movements into the front leg. So they'll be very small at first. Really focusing on that front leg. This is a great way to practice love for your own body, because instead of slamming yourself into a position, we're just allowing our body to find the space. So just easing that knee forwards. And then you may want to put your arms at your chest, and as you begin forwards, just begin to push them out. And again, doing that more tentatively. So you can start small and just get bigger with the arms moving out. So as Isabel has described it before, it's a bit like a moving meditation, a bit Tai Chi like. And if you can almost, sounds a bit odd, switch off your mind here and just go into the movement, you might notice that your body starts to go into that position, that lower lunge position with your arms outstretched, without you even trying. And when for you, you've reached a point that feels like it's just right for you, when you're in a full extension, just coming into that extension, so into that lunge, into that forward stretch, and just taking your arms out into your warrior two. And then from here, just really, maybe closing your eyes, that helps, just really focusing inward on how your body feels. So noticing the different parts of your body that are engaged during this movement. And then reaching out from the ends of your fingers, as if your fingers are trying to touch the air that's a few centimetres further away from it. So really pulling out, expanding. And then when you're ready, just taking that beginning of the move forward to arch back, bring your arm up over your head, and into that peaceful warrior pose. Just taking a few breaths here before coming back, reaching out through the fingers, and then you can either come down to rest on your knee and stretch your arm up, or if you would like to, you can reach down to the floor and stretch your arm up. And breathe. And then when you're ready, coming back to the center, back to your warrior two. And then just draw everything in and up through the middle, turning the toes in. Bringing your hands to prayer. And then just taking that wide-legged forward fold. You can keep your hands in prayer. And you may want to reach down to touch the floor. Dropping your head. Just stretching out through the back of the legs. And then taking your right hand over to your left foot and just taking your arm all the way, run it along the outside of your leg, along your body, and just take it round into a twist. So your left arm, oh, it might be, yeah, your left arm might be in the air. You're twisting to the left. And then when you're ready, coming back down to the center. And doing the opposite side, so left hand to right ankle, and then gently bringing your right arm up and twisting. And then coming back down. Just hanging out here in the middle, just to release. And then very gently Bringing yourself up through the middle. And turning your right toes out. And beginning with that very slow movement in your right leg. So beginning that lunge. Remembering to take that gradual approach, feeling that the muscles in your legs move into a position rather than your mind moving your muscle. And then when you're ready, just bringing your arms in. Connecting your mind and your body, but allowing your body to guide your mind rather than the other way around. And when you reach a position that's comfortable, which might be very different to the other side, it might feel completely different, it might feel lower, it might feel higher. Just coming into that position, whatever that might be, taking your arms out to the side. Maybe now shutting your eyes and turning your attention to how it feels in this position. Just noticing and maybe sending a bit of love to any parts of your body that at the moment, at this very moment in time, are saying, I need a little bit more love. And then just using your extension of your arms to reach as if you're trying to touch the air that's just out of your touching point. And then we just flow by taking ourselves forward, up and over into our peaceful warrior. And when you're ready, coming back to your warrior two, enjoying that extension before making your way down to either your knee or reaching down to the floor and stretching up overhead. Oh God, nearly overbalanced then. Just taking a few breaths here. And whenever you're ready, just coming up to your final warrior two. Turning your toes in. And then making your way just back down into that forward fold. Just to release. And from here, if you want to just walk your legs in slightly and just come down into a squat. So that might be heels down, it might not be, so just coming down into a squat. Just being loving towards your knees. So, and then if you want to, just coming into a balance by bringing your hands into prayer. If your feet are on the floor, it's not quite the same amount of balance. If your heels are up, it's more of a challenge. And if you want to, you can shut your eyes. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm wobbling. No. And then in either a very graceful way or however you're feeling today, you can plonk yourself down on the floor on your bum here, or you can very gently, gracefully descend into a position. Whatever feels best for you, as long as you're not going to hurt yourself. And just taking your legs out in front of you, and then just giving them a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a work, give them a little bit of energy, but vibration. And doing the same with your arms, so maybe start to what's going on? What's going on? And then maybe give yourself move to the legs, to your arms. Don't cut yourself too hard. And then just bringing yourself down. And just for a few moments, just pausing and observing what it feels like. So just patted yourself all over and shaking. And now for the next just couple of minutes, I want you to tune in to a sense of what your body needs right now. And that might just be to sit in stillness. It might be to do a full sun salutation. It might be, I don't know, might be something completely different. You might want to do some star jumps. Might want to do some mountain climbers. Might want to go for a run. I mean, if you're going to go for a run, you probably don't have that long, but you know. But just tune in, follow what your body needs. And just for the next couple of minutes, become very self-indulgent and practice some self-love. And do what you need to do. So just tuning in to any movement that you might want to make. Anything at all that arises. Or you can just sit still. And whenever you're reaching the point, how Lola, that hurt. Of stop it. Just join me in a butterfly or cobbler's pose with your feet together. But only when you're ready. Still got plenty of time if you don't want to come into this position yet. You can, as I say, probably don't have time to go for a run, but you know, you want to put on a record, have a dance, by all means. And just join me whenever you're ready. And if you want to, you can just begin or bounce your knees just up and down slightly, just to keep that energy flowing. And then eventually just coming to pause in another moment of stillness in this position. And then you can now maybe make your way down to a laying position. Hello. And from this position, just maybe taking a few movements of your knees from side to side, just to release your lower back slightly. And then whenever you're ready, just stretching out your legs one at a time, just to come into that full resting pose. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And now begin to think about just shutting off for the next few moments. So closing your eyes, making sure you're in a comfortable position. If you need any blanket or pillow or anything at all, just get yourself comfortable. And we're just going to begin by taking our awareness around our bodies. So starting at the crown of the head, taking your awareness to the crown of the head. And we're just going to move our awareness around the body. So moving now to the middle of the forehead. The right temple. The right cheek. The right jawbone. the chin, the left jawbone, the left cheek, the left temple, the middle of the forehead, the point between the eyes, the right eye, the right cheek, the right nostril, the left nostril, the left cheek, the left eye, and the point between the eyes, the nose, the point between the nose and the mouth, the chin, and just becoming aware of the whole of the head and face. Becoming aware of the edges, the points that make contact with the ground at the back of the head. And now moving down to the neck and the throat. And the top of the shoulders and the front of the chest. And then moving to the right shoulder, the top of the right arm. The elbow, the bottom of the right arm, the wrist, the right hand, and each of the fingers of the right hand. And then moving back through the right arm, the bottom, the elbow, the top. And becoming aware of the whole of the right arm now. From the fingertips all the way up to the shoulder. And then moving across to the left shoulder, the top of the left arm. The elbow, the bottom of the left arm. The left wrist. The left hand and each finger. Moving back through the hand, the wrist, the elbow, all the way up to the shoulder. And just becoming aware of the whole of the left arm now. Now, moving down to the center of the chest. And just pausing for a moment just to focus in
on the heart center. And then we'll begin to travel further down through the ribs, the navel, the pelvis, the pelvic floor, and now across to the right hip, the top of the right leg, the right knee, the bottom of the right leg, the foot, and each of the toes. Before travelling and placing our awareness back at the bottom of the right leg, the knee, the top of the right leg, right hip, and just becoming aware of the whole of the right leg, however that works for you. And now moving across to the left hip, the top of the left leg, the knee, the bottom of the left leg, and the foot, and each of the toes. And then coming back through the bottom of the leg, knee, the top of the left leg, and the hip, and becoming aware of the whole of the left leg, just as it is here and now. And then moving back through the pelvis and the navel and the ribs, and just coming to rest in that place of peace in your heart center. And just pausing and resting here. And I'm just going to share with you some words from Charlie Chaplin about self-love. As I began to love myself, I found that anguish and emotional suffering are only warning signs that I was living against my own truth. Today, I know this is authenticity. As I began to love myself, I understood how much it can offend somebody as I tried to force my desires on this person, even though I knew the time was not right and the person was not ready for it, and even though this person was me. Today I call it respect. As I began to love myself, I stopped craving for a different life, and I could see that everything that surrounded me was inviting me to grow. Today I call it maturity. As I began to love myself, I understood that at any circumstance, I am in the right place at the right time, and everything happens at exactly the right moment. So I could be calm. Today I call it self-confidence. As I began to love myself, I quit stealing my own time and I stopped designing huge projects for the future. Today I only do what brings me joy and happiness, things I love to do and that make my heart cheer, and I do them in my own way and in my own rhythm. Today I call it simplicity. As I began to love myself, I freed myself of anything that is no good for my health, food, people, things, situations, and everything that drew me down and away from myself. At first I called this attitude a healthy egoism. Today I know it is love of oneself. As I began to love myself, I quit trying to always be right, and ever since I was wrong less of the time, today I discovered that is modesty. As I began to love myself, I refused to go on living in the past and worry about the future. Now I only live for the moment, where everything is happening. Today I live each day, day by day, and I call it fulfillment. As I began to love myself, I recognized that my mind can disturb me and it can make me sick. But as I connected it to my heart, my mind became a valuable ally. Today I call the connection wisdom of the heart. We no longer need to fear arguments, confrontations, or any kind of problems with ourselves or others. Even stars collide, and out of their crashing, new worlds are born. Today I know that is life. And so very slowly now, just beginning to bring yourself back into the room, maybe making any movements that you need to with your hands or feet, and then moving perhaps into a full body stretch if you need to take one, just to wake yourself up. And then when you're ready, just bring yourself up to a seated position. And just ask you to pause in that seated position just for a short time, just to allow yourself to settle. So thank you for joining me.